A very good morning to everyone. We warmly welcome you all to the interview workshop organized in collaboration with the prestigious conglomerate Dimo. At the Rotaract Club of Colombo Regent, we have always been committed to develop and nurture the youth of this country with the intent of grooming all-rounder professionals. We are indebted to Dimo for collaborating with us to transform this vision to action. Without further ado, let me hand over the proceedings to the esteemed panel of facilitators from Dimo Lanka. I hope you'll have a fruitful session, and once again, thank you all for joining us today. Over to you, Ms. Swati.
Thank you, Clive. Good morning to every one of you Rotaractors. We're so glad that you all are here, and it's a great pleasure to conduct this interview workshop. We're all prepared, and we have with us here today Mr. Naveen Rupasinghe, who is the Deputy General Manager for Employee Engagement and Transformation. We have with us Bhatia Jayawardena, who is the Assistant Manager for Employee Engagement and Transformation. We will also be having, I'm not sure if she's here yet, but Ms. Arnie De Souza, who's the Head of Recruitment. And you will also get to meet the CHRO, our Chief Human Resources Officer, Mrs. Deorukshi Kurukula Surya. So without further ado, let's get in. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So basically, this workshop is put together to give you more confidence to present yourself to your potential employers and create a successful career for every one of you, right? So a few key things before we jump into the content. You should all, we'd appreciate if you all mute yourselves while we speak. We will have a separate Q&A session at the end of the session, so you can save your questions and clarifications till then. But if you really need to clarify something at that moment, feel free to unmute yourself and excuse yourself, and you can raise any questions posted to us. Other than that, yeah, we are quite ready to get in. And before we go into the details of today's session, I'd like to give you a little introduction to Dimo to show you guys what Dimo is all about, our operations, and the brands we collaborate with on a global platform. So let me just quickly share an AV with you.
Brightening homes and lighting up cities across the length and breadth of our land. Building the foundations of a newer nation and reshaping our landscape for the better. Placing world-class tools and equipment in the hands of our people. Empowering a nation to move ahead with confidence and hope. Creating a new generation with new knowledge, the forerunners of our future. A prestigious partner for all your triumphant journeys through life. Redefining our people's quality of life with world-renowned brands that are the best at what they do. Serving you with standards that go above and beyond, bringing new meaning to professionalism and perfection. Helping create a healthier people and nation through cutting-edge medical technology. Applauding performance and celebrating victory under one flag as one nation. Growing the bounty of our earth so that our nation reaps a bountiful harvest from every seed sown. Building on our heritage of turning water into life by using every precious drop for the enrichment of our land, of our economy. Providing a foundation of service and security as our skyline reaches for the stars. Taking the high road that leads to trust, letting you travel through life with assurance. Helping to power the nation towards economic prosperity. Serving our land and its needs, even beyond our shores. Moving rail transportation to the next level. Raising the flag of excellence through an extensive family of professionals. Bringing in the best of the world for the betterment of our country. Gathering laurels and accolades in everything we do, with honor at our core. A distinctive vision that helped re-engineer the future of a promising nation and still continues to do so. Keeping our flag flying high by providing world-class technological solutions to the nation. Dimo, fueling dreams and aspirations.
As well. Okay. So you would have seen that Dimo is a diversified company operating in various industries, but I just wanted to give you a short little, brief about how we started and where we are now, right? So we started about 82 years ago in 1939, where 4 entrepreneurs came together to establish a business, and it all rooted from automobile sales and services and accessories, automobile accessories, right? So over the years, over 8 decades now, Dimo has grown into a business which operates in over 15 business sectors. We also have operations in Myanmar, the Maldives, and in Uganda. We have over 1,800 employees working for us across the country and beyond Sri Lankan borders. And most importantly, we have about over 100 partnerships with international brands. So all our employees get exposed to these different principal brands, their best practices, and new technology through this collaboration. So we also have, one of the highlights is that we also have like our own automobile vocational training education institute, which is located in Balivaria and in Jaffna. It's called Dimo Academy for Technical Skills. So we have our roots run deep into automobile and engineering. And we also have a thriving retail business and an agriculture business, which was launched a couple of years back. So we are into seed production, fertilizer production, and we're also planning to expand that business into different other verticals under agriculture. So this is Dimo in one slide. But of course, you can learn more about our operations if you just go to our website, which is www.dimolanka.com. You can learn all about the operations, the opportunities we have, how our employees have grown from starting their professional careers as a trainee or an intern or a management trainee, and now who've taken up managerial roles and how successful they are. So you can learn all about that from our website, and you can also visit our social media pages to learn about the different activities and operations that Dimo is involved in on a daily basis. So that is us. And next, we had actually planned our CHRO's address, but can I just flag to see if she is here, Ms. Derukshi, if you're here? So basically, she is at a meeting and she said she will try to join by 11:30. So I just want to check if she was here, and if not, we could then move on to the next section. So guessing by the silence that she's not here, let's just move on to the workshop, the core workshop now. So to start this off, I have our colleague, Ms. Naveen Rupasinghe. Oh, he's just entering. He will take you through the tips and the essentials of facing a successful job interview, how you can present yourself, the do's and don'ts, and how you can really crack it at a job interview and land in your dream job. So over to you, Naveen.
Hi, Swati, you can hear me?
You're audible.
All right, great. Okay, let me just switch on my camera. Hope you can see me. All right, great. Hi, everybody. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be invited here. I'm glad I got the opportunity to talk to you. I know there are a lot of individuals here who must be having great, amazing plans lined up for you. Once you complete your studies, you want to go to, start your career journey, and that's what we all plan to do once we complete our higher studies. Just like me, for example, when I completed my degree in 2006, and I started I would say internship, and then in 2007 I was looking for job opportunities, and there were options available, of course, and of course I started applying for many vacancies, and since I did my degree in human resource management, so I was looking for an opportunity in human resources, so I applied for several organizations, and one was Dimo. So when I got the opportunity for an interview at Dimo, I still remember the first interview I had, and the experience, and how nervous I was for the interview. Yet I knew there were more than 10 candidates sitting with me for the question to be interviewed, and I knew if I am to get that opportunity, I had to be something special than everybody else, isn't it? That is the requirement. So that was the challenge. And even at the final interview with the chairman, our chairman, Mr. Ranjit Pandit, there was another individual seated next to me, and there also similarly, I knew that I had to be be something in a different way. I had to show that I am better suited for the organization, for the job, so that they would consider me for the opportunity. So I think that is what matters for anybody, any of you, when you are one day gonna look for a job opportunity, when you are gonna face that first interview, the second interview, the third interview, what matters is that, because now my career is almost now completely 15 years at Dimo. So easily I think I would have interviewed definitely more than about 500 young undergraduates just like you all, with so much enthusiasm to join Dimo, so much knowledge, but obviously from the 500 those who I have interviewed, I can't take everybody in, right? They will be so good in what they have studied, what they have done, but yet there has to be something special that will make them get attracted to, or for us to recruit them to Dimo. So you will prepare yourself so well, but end of the day, what we get first, can you imagine what does the employer get first from you? Your CV, right? So we get your CV, and from that place only we will decide whether we will shortlist you for an interview. So first, what you need to understand is that that is what we have to get an idea about you and to shortlist you. So the CV itself is going to be very important. Your resume, I think Swati is going to talk about it, so I'm not going to touch on that. I'm sure she will give you very good tips and how you can impress on that. But it does matter, because for me, let's say I am looking for a HR executive, and Swati, or let's say Swati is in the recruitment team, she will give me a bundle of CVs, and I have a short list, right, based on the requirement I have. So the CV, what is in there, matters a lot. How you impress from the CV also matters a lot, because I already have a picture in my head, what is the requirement, what is the experience I need, what is the education qualifications I need, all that matters. But there are some special things, few things that might tick my head, tick me to pick your CV. There might be certain things that will interest me in talking to you personally. So those things matters a lot. So sometimes a lot of people might not share those in the CV, so it could be a disadvantage as well. But I'm not going to go into detail. I'm letting Swati talk about that. So Swati, if you can move to the next slide, please. Okay, thanks. So at an interview, this is from my experience I'm talking about. Okay, so since I have interviewed a lot of people, they really try hard to get the job, the internship. Obviously, first you will most probably will look for internship. Nowadays, even internship is a challenge. Swati would know. We are actually looking for. We are having an internship program right now, Future Talent Demo internship, and I think Swati just told me a few days ago that we got more than 400, if I'm not mistaken, CVs already. So so many applications coming in even for an internship, right? So there is a lot of competition, obviously, to get into a good organization, to get a good experience as an intern. So it's very important that you know and understand that, so that then you can prepare yourself properly for that. Because when you sit for an interview, the person will look at the CV and go through your CV and see there are certain qualifications that you have mentioned, certain extracurricular activities that you have mentioned, that highlights you. So how would that person want to get more information from you about those things? The person will give you questions, ask you questions, right? So that conversation is very important. Many a times, a lot of young undergraduates, they fail to have that perfect conversation. At that moment, they may freeze. They will, lack the confidence. They will get really nervous and fail to convey what they really want to say. You have the information in your head to say what you want, to impress, to answer that question, but at that moment you may get stuck. Yeah, so these are certain things that we really need to prepare ourselves for, because an interviewer, right, an organization has one opportunity to make a judgment on you based on that discussion, right? So that opportunity is there for you to make that first impression count, right? So from the way you dress, to how you look, to how you talk, how your body language, all that will help you to make that decision. How confidently you answer, how confidently you talk about what is in your CV, that will give you confidence, to have a longer conversation. So sometimes in some interviews that I have, there are certain indicators that might give me saying that this person might not be suitable, and from the first minute or two itself, right? Sad to say, but that happens. But as an interviewer, we of course will not just say, okay, that's enough, thank you, bye. We will continue the conversation, because what I feel is that we always need to help that individual to gain that confidence, because from whatever the confidence that person will gain from the first interview, that person will carry it to the second interview. So I will always ensure that I will let that person go in a very positive mindset, so that he or she will go to another interview in more confidence than before. So make sure you are always ready to have those important conversations in a confident way. Always remember, the interviewer will always refer to the CV. He or she will have already done the study on your CV, gone through it, have decided which areas he or she wants to ask. So all that part will be done. So he or she knows what the questions that need to be asked from you. It's that you need to be prepared to answer those questions. You need to be confidently talking about a project that he will be reflecting that you have given leadership, which you have mentioned in your CV. You need to show that. You will need to show with your words, your expressions, how passionate you are talking about it, right? That matters a lot. So uh, that will help seal your place, in an organization, be selected for that organization. So those things matters a lot. Swati, if you can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so I think we just showed you our in video of our company, video of our organization, just to give you an idea, right? So obviously these are the most common things anybody would know now. I need to know about the organization, I need to know about the history, all those things. But yes, you need to know about that. But more than anything, try to know about the culture of an organization. Now you all have the technology, there are so many platforms that will help you understand a culture of an organization. Now, for example, if you take Dimo, right? So if you go to our Facebook, careers at Dimo Facebook page, or in Instagram, or even on Twitter, we are on LinkedIn, all these platforms will help you to really figure out how this organization works, how these people enjoy working in this organization, what do they really do, what this organization do for the people, the employees of this organization, do they really enjoy working, all these things you can get an idea. I mean, even a comment from an employee, if you read these things properly, you can get an idea how engaged they are with an organization. Because it's very important that when you are applying, when you're going for an interview, you need to be aware not only about the organization, but about the culture of that organization as well. Yes, you need to know about the businesses, especially if you're applying for a certain position in certain business. You need to do your research on that, about that business, how well it is doing. Refer to the annual reports, you can get even more idea. All that is needed. But most importantly, you need to see how well you will fit to that culture of that organization. That is something you need to be very aware. Obviously, you can ask questions during the interview without being afraid. to get a further understanding. I love being when an interviewee in an interview a person asked me a question so that I would explain more, because I always ask, do you need to know anything about the organization? Do you need to know anything else about us, Dimo, anything else? Most of the time, many of us, no, I'm okay. But when a person asks that question, you should ask, take that opportunity to get more clarity, more understanding. That will, even give more confidence for the interviewer about your interest in the organization, in this applying for this job, the confidence you have. That is very important. So don't ever let go of those opportunities when you have, to ask more questions, get more information. That will be really helpful for you, and as well as the interviewer, he or she will get a more understanding of your personality and how you think. That is very important. The next one, so many a times a lot of people come prepared to talk about what they're comfortable, right? So that happens a lot, and I have seen that always happening, because they are very happy to comfortably talk about what they want. And as an interviewer, I will always shoot a question that they, that is they will never be prepared. Nothing, not in the CV in any way. Something totally different. Something that they will have to think and answer. A lot of people get stuck. That is because you are so focused on what is there, and you're on focused on doing that. Don't be, don't be in that way, because you need to be ready to express freely what you think. There is nothing wrong in that. Of course, you need to understand not to go beyond certain levels, but you have to have that confidence to be ready to answer any question, because there are no common questions in an interview. All right, you can say, okay, you go and Google and say what are the most common questions that will come for an interview. There will be certain questions. A lot of websites will say these are the definite questions that is going to come. That is never going to, you should never be prepared in that way, right? But you should be prepared to confidently express whatever question, express and answer whatever question that come to you. That is what is very, very important. You go for a fun interview. If you think that you didn't do as well as you thought, that is okay. You ask for feedback even after the interview. You have the freedom to do that. I think even in our case, there are many times I get calls from, even get messages on LinkedIn asking, sir, how did I do in the interview? Where do I need to improve? I love to answer those individually. Actually, those people, they really want to improve on. So you also can do that. You can reflect on how well you did the interview, where it went wrong, so that it will help you to do better the next time. So that is something very important. So be ready to, be ready to answer anything. Don't always stick to the comfort zone and answer only in that area. Talk about something totally, that is not there in the CV, that, if the interviewer is very interested in understanding your leadership qualities, talk about the certain experience that you had with during your studies, maybe your project, maybe, and something that was even not even mentioned in the CV, but it's very impressive, and the interviewer will be very impressed to hear that story. So always make use of those opportunities. That is very, very important. Swati, to the next slide. Right. So as I told you, there were already, I gave answers to these areas, but of course I can highlight again. make sure you know very well what is in the CV. There are times I have experienced a lot of people coming. I will ask what certain thing that is mentioned in the CV, but he or she might not actually remember what it was there, right? Don't get into that situation. That actually, then I will lose in the confidence in you, definitely. So that is one thing that you should never do. So you should be very clear about what is in the CV, and you have to have a good understanding in that. And always, these are the basic things I'm talking about: the eye contact, the body language. Those are basic things, but people still make mistakes on all that. Small things that matters a lot. Remember, I will have 5 to 10 minutes with you to make a decision on whether I'm going to recruit you or not, right? That 5-10 minutes, you have to ensure that you don't make those small errors. So that is very important. And always you have been given opportunity to sell yourself, so take the maximum opportunity of that, right? Even before coming to the interview, make sure that you have already build your brand. Because now, for example, I know most people are on Facebook, Instagram, but create a profile on LinkedIn. I don't know, most of you might be having LinkedIn profiles. Build a LinkedIn profile, get connected with a lot of professionals, qualified individuals. There are so much opportunity for you to learn on that platform and talk to a lot of people, and that will also help you to build your brand. We might even look at your LinkedIn profile to see how professionally you're handling it. So that can happen as well. Now, nowadays, now even today, we are going to have an interview on a video, right? Through technology. So we don't know how long this will go on also. So maybe for another 6 months time, there will only be video interviews, right? Maybe the CV, we will ask the individuals to send a small video clip of introducing yourself. So things will change, right? Due to technology, so many things will happen, but make sure to remember that you have that opportunity, only that moment to impress, to make that first impression. So don't make small errors that will lose you that opportunity to get into our organization. So that's very important. So keep that in mind. And if you have any more clarifications, I'm more than happy to help. I'm on LinkedIn as well. Please connect with me. I'll be more than happy to help you and clear out any doubts. So hope to see you all now during the mock interviews, where I will be able to even give you more tips and support for you all to do better at the interview. Thank you very much. Over to you, Swati.
Thank you so much, Naveen. So quickly, before we move on to the next segment, I would like to ask again if you have any questions. So you can raise them now before we move on. So like I said before, we skipped the CHRO's address earlier, which we can have now. We have Mrs. Deorukshi Kurukula-Surya with us. And over to you, Mrs. Deorukshi.
Morning, beautiful people. So how many are there all together today? I'm sorry, I was actually I was with the board from 7:30. I've been working. It's not that I delayed purposely. So I assume most of you here are millennials or Z generation. I believe that most of you are Z generation. So there's a lot of talk about it today, right? So different generations coming into the workforce. And it's like, and like, they're different, and how to integrate all of them to work together. So there are a lot of issues around this. And while that was the D topic, maybe 1 year, 2 years ago, I think it is inevitable that now the prevailing situation, COVID, is how we need to know how to deal with, right? So it's very rarely now we talk about the generation gap or how generations are working. But now we need to understand how going forward, how we work within this pandemic, or how to face the new normal. So in that light, I will speak a few words, I thought. If you look at the employment landscape, it has totally changed today, right? Employment opportunities have actually reduced. And this is hit globally, not only in Sri Lanka. So only the best of best will get opportunities to work. That is one side. But at the same time, we have changed the way of working. The whole world has changed. So if you were looking to work in your country, now your horizons have expanded. Now, many organizations which have come out of this pandemic and adopted to the new normal, they're hiring. And when they hire, they don't look at your geographies. They look at the best talent, because now we have beat it, right? So actually there is no restrictions on borders. Whether if you're virtually working, whether you work from London, or if you fulfill your duties from Sri Lanka, it does not matter. So your opportunities that way is very high. But the pool has got shrunk. It's totally less. So only the best of best will get opportunities. Believe me, only people who know how to get a job will get that job. You speak to someone who had got a job that they wanted, they really wanted. They got that job because they knew how to get that. Okay, so now I actually congratulate. I congratulate Rotaract, the team who has put this event together, the association, because it's very timely topic, right? Sometimes, like, with a lot of jargon, lot of information getting into your head, you may think that you're different. You're a Z generation or you are a millennial. But let me tell you, that is overstated. And this is just a mindset. Only difference of millennials or Z generation, I could say that you are more educated than the previous generations, because your parents have done the hard work and earn it for you. Other thing is the technology. With all of that, you have reaped the fruit of all this hard work. So if we look at these generations, I would say 30–40% more they are educated. So you have opportunities. but the rest of it is mindset. I'm not taking much time because I came into this quite late, but I have to tell 3 things to you. If you are interested in a job, there are 3 things that you need to be mindful of. First, you need to make sure that your CV is outstanding, because you will be shortlisted more based on your CV. So you have to take a lot of effort in preparing it, right? That does not mean that you have to do a lengthy CV, but let it be brief, but make sure that you represent your best self in the paper, right? It's not only on paper, but on social media, right? And you're physically, you need to you need to be outstanding, because this is a game. This is competition, right? The next is, it is very, very important to network, to know what are the best organizations to work for, what kind of people working in these organizations, right? It is very important to network and see what your opportunities, where your opportunities are. And the third most important is aligning yourself, right? When I say aligning yourself, if you are going for an interview, you need to make sure that you do a lot of research, understand the organization culture, and also, like, what kind of people work there, and what are the current interests of this organization, right? I know for a fact, most of you all are very tech savvy, right? So that gives you an edge to be flexible. You can work from anywhere. So many of these organizations today, this is an example, go through digital disruption, right? There are, like, burning interests of organizations. So it will really help if you find out these things and align with the job in hand and the organizational thinking, right? For an example, say that this organization is in the area of mobility, dealing with automobiles or agriculture, and they're trying to, and they see a lot of potential in this area and try to digitize. And you come from an area which you have acquired certain competencies. And if you know this company is also, like, interested in this area, it is important that you align yourself with this job, with the culture, and thinking of this organization. So it is very important, whatever times that you live in or you go for an interview with, to do these 3 things, right? Like, being in HR, we see a lot of people come for interviews, but it is quite boring, I should say. We think our bar is actually quite high sometimes, and what we get is quite ordinary. So we would like to see, different talent. Probably you have it, but it is more often not demonstrated at interviews. So as a CHRO in this country, I join with other prominent CHROs to say that we are quite bored with new talent, because we know that there's talent, but when we look for this talent, we sometimes don't get excited, right? Because I think there is a gap. Probably it is unfair by for the new job seekers, because with the challenges organizations face today, there is immense competition, and everyone is pushed to deliver results, right? To deliver results, you need people to do this. And so year on year, organizations raise the bar. On the other hand, we see sometimes educational institutes do not align with this organization. So there's always a gap. So I know certain organizations are doing so much of work to produce for industry. So they take a lot of input from organizations. But however, the point that I wanted to make is that year on year, we raise the bar. We want to see a different kind of people coming with different competencies. So the competencies that we see today are not the competencies that we wanted 100 years ago. But certain things remain unchanged. That is, certain values. Most of these organizations, good organizations, which have a strategy, which have a vision, they also have a set of values. For an example, now my organization, we have 5 values, such as integrity, people centricity, customer delight, and so on, right? So for any organization, these are like, maybe it is their corporate value or they have different values, but these will not change. We always, any organization will value, any good organization will integrity, your commitment, right? And also the respect that you give, how good you are towards customers, the employees, how well you can work with teams. So these things will also not change. So with that, I would urge that while learning what are the basics that will get you a job, getting a job is not enough. You have to be in that job. I know I was told, and sometimes I have seen, they say that millennials are impatient. So they think like, they have a lot of knowledge, undoubtedly, as I said before. So sometimes you may have a boss who has learned things by default and come out and may not understand your, technical jargon probably, or, social jargon, but, they have contributed to that organization a lot. So learn to respect if you happen to work with this kind. You get different kinds of bosses, right? So, so these are little tips that we see go unnoticed. So therefore, very good talent comes in and get wasted. So as much as you work on getting a job, I told you 3 basic things that you should do in order to get the job that you want. And I'm sure the resource people will take you through how to do it in detail. While congratulating the Rotaract Club and the officials for putting this event together, I would like to wish all the best to all you have connected to this program. All the best and good afternoon.
Thank you, Ms. Dirkshi, again for joining us and squeezing in this session in the middle of your very scheduled, day, a very busy scheduled day. I think that was very impactful and very relevant. She pointed out to some of the industry expectations, and like she correctly said, the requirements of the industry keep changing every year, every day. So it is imperative that you build the correct competence, the correct skills, and be aware of these changes in order to be successful at job interviews and in order to be successful in your career as a whole. So thank you so much, Ms. Dirkshi, again, and let's move on to the next segment.
You're welcome.
Okay, so as you heard previously from the previous speakers, Naveen and Mr. Dirkshi, like they stressed upon having a very good CV that stands out, right? So that's what we're going to discuss about right now. And there are lots of points you can note, but it's not going to be very like theoretical. It's very practical and, meaningful points that I'd like to highlight in order to, sort of gear you up to have your CV put together, right? So as it reads here, it's not just it's more than just a piece of paper. It's a marketing document. So this is the marketing tool that will sort of help brand you to your potential employers. Okay, so in this document, you're going to condense your personality, your experience, your qualifications, skills, and interests, so on and so forth, and put together one document, okay, which is usually like Mr. Riksha highlighted also, just because you need to include all these details, it doesn't go on and on and on for like 5 pages. It has to be a 1-pager or maximum 2 pages since you're starting off as freshers specifically. This document will, have to create a great first impression, a great impact, so that the recruitment manager, when they look at it, they're like, okay, I want to speak to this person. That impression, that impact is what your resume needs to deliver. And let's look at, the ways to do it. So open with an elevator pitch. Now, this is very important. Often I have seen, like myself, I've screened a lot of CVs. Like Naveen mentioned, these days we are going through a lot of screening for our graduate internship program, which is called Future Talent. And lots of CVs, some have like a personal summary, some don't, right? Now, it's not imperative that you have a summary about yourself, but this is just going to, if you put it together the right way, it will ace your game at the very beginning itself. It'll fuel it, right? So what you need to do here is most often what we see is, I am a highly motivated individual, following this degree from this university, and I'm looking to, excel in the industry of healthcare, in the industry of automobile, or I am looking forward to build a career in marketing, right? This is the usual summary that we see every day. And because of this, the bitter truth is that most recruiters don't even bother going through the summary. As soon as they read, I am a highly motivated individual, because we know how it flows and we know it's not much. There is no much of essence there to add to this person's personality. So how can you put a twist to that? Now, what you need to say there is really condense your personality, right? And like all the drive you have, how creative you are, and what kind of career that you want to look into within like a 30-second read. So that is why we call it an elevator pitch. So what is an elevator pitch? In 60 seconds, you sell your product, right? So that's the same thing that you're going to do here in your summary. So what you can do quickly here is maybe, have a quote from like one of your idols, one of your inspirations, someone who said something very motivational or like that reflects your personality, your unique personality, and then connect to that quote. So as it is mentioned above in my idols, words, this is who I am. This is the kind of person I am. I am, hard work drives me, and creativity sort of ooms me to become better at my work. And I am an expert in social media. I am an expert in this field. So like Mr. Rukshi stated earlier, right? Now the landscape has changed. The expectations have just gone up by several notches. So we want to recruit experts. It's not about becoming an expert after you join, but you need to know your subject area, your field of interest, really deeply in details. So if you want to be a content creator, then you should already know like the basics of graphic designing software, right? So you can call yourself an expert in that field. So we gain that confidence right there. So that is how you have to, that is, the way to really create or write down a summary that will have an impact without just putting together highly motivated individuals seeking to blah, blah, blah. Okay. So if you are going to write something like that, don't even write it, just omit it, right? Get the order right. Now, this is very, very important, right? Again, as freshers, sometimes you might be clumsy about, okay, what to put first and what is the order, right? So always start off with like your name, your full name, your contact details, and a profile picture if you want to. It's a choice. If you want to mention your date of birth, you can mention it. And then you have your summary, again, a killer summary, like I stated earlier. And then you start off with your experience. Now, if you've had any like 3 months to 1 month, even like a 2-week internship, it matters, right? Because this is, you're starting off your career. Any little experience matters. Any little experience tells us that, okay, this is what your interest is. Or, okay, you gained these skills from this experience. So start off with your experience, an internship or like a summer camp or something that you've been to. And then you can talk about your education. Now, if you have several experiences, several internships, or even like part-time jobs, you list these in the order of most recent. So if you completed like your last internship 2 months ago, you write that on top, and then any other internships below that, right? And then you have your educational qualifications, starting off with the most recent again. So your undergraduate degree program, or if you are a part of a master's program, then write your master's, then your degree, then any certificate programs that you've done, right? And then you can have your A-levels and O-level results, right? So again, some people, what they do here is when you write like the educational column, they include even modules and results that they received for each module, which is excess information, right? So the best thing is to include your degree name, the university it is awarded by, any affiliated university. If you're studying at a private college, then you can definitely mention the grade, the GPA that you're currently maintaining. So after that, after your education, then comes like your skills and interest, which you can have, now on the side, on along education and experience, or even below that. Then you have like the extracurricular activities, the recognitions you have, and then lastly, the references. So that is the right order. Be selective. Now, like I mentioned before, yes, this is your opportunity to make the first impression. This is your opportunity to highlight every little skill you have, every little recognition it is. But remember, if you get selected, you will also get to face an interview where you can talk all about, your recognitions and skills and elaborate on how it's going to be useful for that organization, right? So here, what you need to do is condense as much as possible. So for example, like I mentioned earlier, don't go into mentioning all your modules, don't go into mentioning, all your little participations or memberships at school, like member of the dancing club, member of the music club. Don't really have to mention it. But clubs and societies like ISAC, Rotaract, Leo, right? These societies where you actually, it's a little, the standard is little higher than that of, the clubs that we have in school, right? So if you're in your university, if you're part of a Rotaract club, if you're part of an ISAC, society, that is great. Then mention that. And you can also highlight key things that you were a part of. I was a part of ISAC, and I was an active, member in organizing this event with, audience of this many people. That shows, okay, that gives an impact rather than just mentioning it. And what are the other things where people go overboard in writing, right? Skills. Again, there are this set of skills that are really like sort of now become stale now, right? Organizational, time management. Time management is not even included as a skill in CVs anymore. So don't include that. But research, Google is just like a tap away. So research skills. Sometimes we will have these things in us, but we won't know to sort of name it, to put it in words. So what you can do is just go take, advantage of the technology we have and research the skills for an engineer, the skills for an HR person. Read through them, reflect upon it with yourself, and check if you really resonate with it, if you really have that skill, then put it down, right? Interests also, don't go and just put like vague and usual interests, but you can maybe, if you're interested in like e-commerce, right? The buzzwords of today, right? If you are interested in some of those, then that will create an impact. That will highlight your personality better, right? Share accomplishments, not responsibilities. Now again, like I mentioned earlier also now, I was a part of ISAC, right? And I organized this event, or I was a part of Rotaract, I organized this event is not important, right? You organize an event which had this many audience, and what was your unique role there? What did you accomplish, right? You were able to attract this many people by creating content, by attracting people on social media. Those are the points that you need to write. Now, if we go back to like your internship experience or something, again, you can like list down in 2-3 points what your responsibilities and roles were, just to give a better understanding. But don't go on writing every little thing, like creating reports, drafting emails, coordinating with different departments, because these are a given for any job, any internship. So that's not what we are looking for. But what we are looking for is, as an intern, if you were a part of, a recognition, small or big, doesn't matter. Like if you organized an event, like a marketing campaign or something that you were part of, which attracted so many leads, right? Or if you were part of putting together an awareness creating campaign, right, about this, and what was the outcome of that? Always, like Ms. Naveen discussed earlier, you have to show your results, right? In one of his slides, there was, you have to share the problem, the outcome, the action, and then the outcome. So your outcomes are very, very important in comparison to your role and responsibilities. Make it readable. I cannot stress enough on this one. Again, you know, in the name of putting it all together and condensing it to one document, people go crazy. You know, sometimes you can't even read the fonts, they're so small, and like it's all cluttered, right? You have the experience here, you have the education here, you have the interest here, and like you know, the skills coming in from this side, and then you have the references. It's difficult to read, and it puts you off the moment you see it. And so don't put people in uncomfortable situation. You know, make it clear, take some time to format it, edit it, right? Some people even have you know, blank pages in their PDFs. So like, make sure you go through your CV before, you know, emailing it to your employer, or emailing it to someone else. Just sit and organize it, format it, make it readable. If you can read it, and if one of your friends can read it, even better, because we have our own biases. It looks very good for us because we put a lot of hard work into it, right? So once, the moment we are done, we're like, oh, wow, done. We'll send it. Don't do that. Get a kind friend to read it, get a mentor, or like your sibling, anyone, to just go through it and see if this is readable, right? Get help. I was just talking about it. It's always great to get help, because in the rush of putting it together, we can make mistakes, like logical mistakes, again, placing content in different places, grammar mistakes, spelling mistakes, and punctuations. Now, it's not that recruiters look for grammar and spelling mistakes. We don't generally look for, you know, grammar mistakes and spelling mistakes in CVs, but if one gets spotted, then it's a big, huge black mark, right? Like if you couldn't like spell a basic English word, or something that you can, you know, always like go wrong. And sometimes when you say your, we tend to write your instead of you know, you are, like you and then apostrophe re. So mistakes like that can happen because we have autocorrect in our computers, in our phones, right? That can also make your text wobbly and create ill meaning. So get help, get someone to go through your CV. Always PDF, not docs. This is because there is a logical reason behind this, right? When we write in Word, or when we edit in Word, and when you share it with someone else, because of, now, a great example is if you're working on a Mac laptop and if your recruiter has a Windows, right? The text can go bonkers, there can be different fonts, right? The elements can go missing sometimes. This happens, right? And page break might not have worked properly. So it's a different scenario than, you know, nobody's even going to look at your CV. So always convert it into a PDF. And it's a confidential document about you, right? Like you don't want anyone editing it on, if you send it as a Word document. It's not like we can't, recruiters are not going to, but it's not like someone can't convert your Word in your PDF into Word, but it's always best to send it as PDF. Again, that shows a little bit of, you know, professionalism, and that you care, you've taken time and consciously done this, right? So here's a great tool for you to put together a nice resume, which also looks nice to your eyes, and which has, you know, different templates for you to put all your details in, and to make it clear and like nice to look at, right? So the content you have to be mindful about, but not all of us are creative. We have to admit that, right? So getting a little help from an online application is never too bad. So do check out Canva. It's just www.canva.com. You can create your own account, and there are so many templates available to create a resume. So this is just a resource that you can access online. I'm just gonna move to the next page, take a screenshot or something, right? Okay, now this is also very important. So nowadays, also, even for interns, right, even for like fresh entry positions, we tend to search on LinkedIn. We tend to do the head hunting ourselves sometimes, right? So in that kind of situations, it'll give you an edge if you have a LinkedIn profile, if you are very active. You don't even have to be active on LinkedIn, but like if you have all the content about yourself, your experience, education, your summary, everything online, that acts as like a online CV, a resume, right? So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, please create one today, because definitely this is something that is looked at, and it's really important that you have a LinkedIn profile. I will share a link with you. Actually, I can share it with you right now. Okay, I'm just going to share this link with everyone. Do access it. So it's basically a guide to put together your LinkedIn profile, especially for a fresher or an undergraduate student, right? Then moving on, okay, in the interest of time, I'm just going to condense it, try to sum it up as much as possible. Do not worry. All of you will go back with a brochure, an interview tips brochure, which has all this information and more to prepare yourself for an interview, right? So stick through, please. I will try to condense it as much as possible. So cover letter. Often when in like private sector jobs, it's very rarely asked for cover letters. But if you are interested in like humanitarian work, if you like to apply to, you know, NGOs or other development organizations, or even like government sector organizations, then a cover letter will give you an edge, and people look for this document. People, yes, sit and go through a letter from you on top of your resume also, because they really want to take the best of the best. But usually in like private sectors, we don't ask for a cover letter. A resume, a very good resume will get you the interview, right? So this is where you talk about the details, the little details of your recognitions, the little details of like your internship or your experience, and the things that you have accomplished throughout your school, uni, and work life. Essentials of a cover letter. Emphasize the experiences that matter most. Now, again, you don't go on about writing, you know, about every experience that you went through. Only the key areas, okay, that you are this person. You know, you can start off with saying, I will again take you through like the format to write it as well. So you will start off with an introduction to you. There, again, you can say, you know, your name, your current designations if you're working somewhere, and the degree that you have in hand or are reading, right? And then go into, in your experience, the important responsibilities that you have held, the important recognitions that you bear, which will make you the best candidate for this position, this particular position that you're applying for. Always connect back with the position that you're applying for. Don't overshare. Again, don't write about every little detail. Showcase creativity in your writing. Don't write like you're writing a report. I know most of us, you know, most of you undergraduates who are just coming out of university are very conversant with report writing. That's not what we're looking for. It has to be a little more personalized. There has to be a touch of creativity in it to make, you know, the reader, like a recruiter is also, you know, think from the recruiter's point of view. They're probably going through like hundreds and thousands of resumes and cover letters, and you know, it won't take them 5 seconds to just, you know, ignore it and move on. So get their attention, right? So for that, use your creativity. Make the conclusion count. In your conclusion, tell them why you want this opportunity, why you're the best, and that you want to speak to them, that you want an opportunity, you're looking forward for an opportunity to discuss your resume, right? Don't reiterate your entire resume. Now, I discussed this earlier also. You don't have to include every skill, every interest, recognition, extracurricular activity here. It has to be more specific, it has to be readable, condensed, and it has to have essence. Use specific figures to quantify results. Okay, when talking about results, you should include a percentage, time frame, and an action, for example, right? So now, for example, Clive can mention in his CV that he was able to organize an interview workshop for his Rotractors, peer Rotractors, and he could attract about, how many people do we have today? About 30 participants, and post that you can Clive can also in another 2 months or something check how many people have actually nailed their first interview right away. That could be because of this workshop, right? So you can include points like that in your CV, and you can say so if you were a part of the social media or like the marketing branding team, you were able to attract this percentage from your objective. If your objective was to attract 50 people and you were able to attract 40 people, then mention that percentage. It all matters, right? Highlight your soft skills. Mention the skills that are your strengths in your cover letter, and use examples to back them up. Now, if you want to say you have great leadership skills, that's not enough. You're going to have to explain a time or a situation when you showcased your leadership skills and how it impacted the other people, right? Personalize it. Now, this is also very important, and people often tend to make lazy mistakes here, right? So when you're writing a cover letter, always address it to the specific person, okay? Now, if it's Dimo, right, and you're addressing your cover letter to Dimo, there is LinkedIn, social media is there. You can go have a look at, you can search for, the designations, right? Manager recruitment or head of recruitment, whatever. And when you see the person, the head of recruitment, you can directly mention their name. Dear, in our case, Miss De Soisa, because Arnie De Soisa is the head of recruitment at Dimo. So take that extra effort and personalize it, okay? That shows, okay, you've done your homework, right? And you've done your research and you really want to talk to us than just trying to send, because people always send like, when you're looking for a job, right, you tend to apply to like hundreds of jobs without even looking at, okay, what the job description is, advertisement is, okay, there's an opportunity, I'm going to apply, right? Don't do that. Personalize it again to create a good impression. Link the keywords. Now, this is also a very, very good tip. Always go through the terms of reference or job description or the job advertisement and look at the role, look at the requirements. If they're asking for specific duties and if they're asking for specific, skills and qualifications, talk about it in your cover letter. Talk about that skill and back it up with example. And if they're asking for certain duties and responsibilities, again, reflect to those duties by saying you've previously done this, so you think you can do this, take up this new role as well, right? Customize it. There's nothing worse than a cover letter that's clearly been copied and pasted. Don't be lazy. Step out of your comfort zone, as mentioned earlier, and customize it to match every job requirement. Putting things down on paper, right? So this is like the basic format. You have the header where you have the personal details, name, contacts, date, all of that. And then the address bar, receiver's name and address. Try to find it out. Salutation, you can say dear recruitment manager or dear Mr. or Miss, whoever, okay? Subject, job application, the job position. And then in body, you can again take a screenshot of it. Feel free to do that. So you can go through this in details later. I'm just going to skim through. I'm writing in response to the job vacancy or the above vacancy. So your current profile, I'm a passionate undergraduate following the stream of sales and marketing. For example, currently I serve as branding intern at this organization, and in my current capacity, I have done this. I've been able to accomplish this. Educational background. I hold a bachelor's in this along with a certificate or diploma in something, and I am currently reading for. This is only if you have all these segments, or you can stop it at I hold a bachelor's in whatever, right? Skills, strengths, and experience. During my university life, I have been an active, see, there is a spelling error there, right? Don't do that. Don't make that mistake in your resume or your cover letter. I have been an active part of ISAC or Rotaract or Dimo, for example, where I have organized this, coordinated this program, or led this initiative, which resulted in something like this. Now, I have said include links, articles, news items, and web pages. Now, if you have organized, for example, this, say you organized an award ceremony, and if you posted about the award ceremony on a social media platform, or you published a news item about this award ceremony, then link that in your cover letter, right? Hyperlink the text. Your motivation to join this organization. Summarize specific skills that complement this job requirement, your passion, why you desire this job or organization, and how you will support their success. Okay, very specific and very important, will definitely get you an interview. All right, that brings us to the very end of our program.
Thank you so much to our resource persons. I would now like to invite our president, Rotaractor PHF, Ahmed Ismail, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Clive. Good afternoon, everyone. It's been one hell of a session, to be honest. We've all learned a lot, and it's all thanks to this group of people from Dimo who dedicated their Saturday morning, which everyone knows is a very precious amount of time, to be here with us and help us out. So our speakers and panelists, Ms. Suwati Kandaya, the Assistant Manager, Employer Branding, Diversity and Inclusion, Mr. Navin Rupasinghe, Deputy General Manager, Employee Engagement and Transformation, Ms. Aruni Dizoisa, the Manager, Talent Acquisition, and Mr. Bhatia Jayawardena, the Assistant Manager, Employee Engagement and Transformation. Thank you so much for conducting the respective breakout rooms and guiding our young professionals down a path to success in the future. Ms. Dilrukshi Kulkursudia, the Chief Human Resources Officer, we really appreciate her taking time out of her busy schedule and being here to speak to our audience, who I'm pretty sure really appreciate the fact that she's gave us a bit of her valuable time. So thank you for that. From the side of our club, Rotaractor Clive, Rotaractor Dilano, and Rotaractor Hisham, job well done on organizing and coordinating this. And finally, to our participants, thank you very much for dedicating your valuable time to be here. And we sincerely hope that this has been a productive session for you all, as much as it has been for all of us. On that note, thank you, and back to you, Clive.
Well, thank you so much, Ahmed. Well, this has been a very productive session, and I'm honestly glad this went as I hoped. So I hope you guys actually have learned something really well. And on this note, I would like to conclude today's session.